Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2Lift. Today, we're joined by beauty expert and industry trailblazer Lana Kerr, CEO and founder of CO2Lift and Lumisque Skincare. She joins me in studio today to help me kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, when it comes to gender equality at the highest level, the beauty industry comes out on top. In a recent report by Ledbetter, which is a research group that measures the gender disparity across big-name companies, it found that beauty outranked every other profession in terms of the highest percentage of women seen on the board and in executive positions. Unfortunately, that number was 29%. 29%, which paints an incredibly bleak and a very real picture about how far we are from achieving equal representation. For a business that caters largely to women and that's built on the dollars women spend, it's aggravating to see that in 2023, it's still rare for a woman to reach the upper echelons of a major corporation, unless, of course, you're Lana Kerr. She joins me in studio right now at iHeart headquarters right here in Midtown Manhattan. We're chatting female empowerment, loving the skin you're in, her amazing career, how she got started in skincare, surprising facts that people don't know about her, and what it's like to be a female entrepreneur in the male-dominated world of plastic surgery. Welcoming now to the show is the beautiful and talented Lana Kerr. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
It's good to be here, Zen. And nice to be in this facility today.
You are such a trailblazer in your field, and I love the business that you have built. So let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us about your journey and how you got started in the beauty industry?
So, I have a finance and accounting background, went back to school, studied nutrition, and then opened weight loss centers. I really have always had a passion for health and wellness, and that's really what got me started in that field. So then forward 20 years, we decided to open a spa because, when people lost weight, then they wanted to feel better in their skin and look better. So we figured, let's offer them some of those services. So we opened up the spa and was really looking for, what is going to be the next big thing? What can change people's skin? Because in our weight loss program, we had something that was different, that was very effective. And so we wanted the same for the skin business. And so that's how Lumisque was born.
That's such a great transition, because now we're going to segue to carboxytherapy really quickly, because this is at the base of it all. Now, as a brand ambassador for your company, which I'm extremely proud to be in because I stand behind the products that I endorse, and I'm currently using carboxytherapy for my own skin rejuvenation. Now, carboxytherapy has many proprietary uses, and with this non-invasive procedure involving the therapeutic use of carbon dioxide for skin regeneration, we are really seeing great results. And when infused into the skin, CO2, as you know better than anyone else, but we're talking to our audience now, guys, it immediately diffuses at the cutaneous and muscular microcirculatory levels, resulting in higher tissue oxygenation and neoangiogenesis. I know that this sounds like a lot of big words. Lana's going to break it down for us, but it's basically the blood vessels that are widening, increasing the transport of oxygen body tissue for cellular regeneration and anti-inflammatory effects. And it's a treatment that's been around since the 1930s, though the method of delivery has improved since then with a gel delivery system called CO2Lift. Bringing me full circle to, because I did the heavy lifting, Lana, what inspired you to create CO2Lift and Lumisque Skincare?
So, I'm all about things that are different. Really, if I go back into everything that I've ever done, it's always been something that I see a need in an area. And CO2 fill that need. Why? Because many people were looking for something non-invasive. I was looking for something non-invasive and yet effective and yet is safe. And so we looked at carboxy, and as you mentioned, since the 1930s, carboxy has been around in an injectable form where you get a tank of CO2 gas, put it into the skin, and that would quickly regenerate the skin. So we wanted another method that was non-invasive. And so we looked into Japan, and we found a group of scientists that actually patented a delivery system for a gel delivery system. So again, that's painless and yet is going to produce even better effects. And it's also, because of the gel delivery system, there is more applications to use it. So CO2 was born then, CO2Lift for the face, and then eventually we got into CO2Lift V for the vulvovaginal tissue.
You have such an array of products when it comes to your roadmap in the company, because you're truly not just catering directly to the consumer, but also dealing directly with the doctors and the medical providers. And that brings me to my next question. So, empowerment is a central theme in your work. Can you share some insights on how you believe skincare and beauty can empower individuals, especially women?
Yes, I am big into that in so many areas of my life. Empowerment with my friends, with my family. I believe that that's something that we should give to each other. But certainly in skincare, it's people when they look at us, that's what they're seeing first and foremost. But I think even before that, you're looking at yourself. You have to feel confident in who you are, and skin plays a big part of that. And so when you can very quickly bring back youthfulness to your skin, regardless of your age. And I'm not talking about necessarily wrinkles, because wrinkles is one thing. You can do things for wrinkles, and this can help with wrinkles, but I'm talking about quality of the skin. It's going to make you feel more confident. And I think when you feel more confident, then you're going to be a nicer, better person. You're going to perform better in every area of your life. So that's how the CO2. And then on the vaginal end, the empowerment comes with the fact that, so for so many years, we as women had no solution to some of the conditions or symptoms that result from aging. We don't even talk about our vulva-vaginal skin. In fact, in so many people don't even like to say the word vulva or vagina. But I think we're bringing that back. We're making it commonplace, and I'm glad so many other women are doing the same. But also with the CO2 lift, because it's addressing areas that women can feel lose their confidence in or lose their enjoyment in, and because we're replacing that or reversing that, you can empower yourself in the bedroom, in every area of your life, just feeling more confident as a woman. We want to continue to bring these type of products for women and help them in this way.
And you're doing such a great job. Now, can you describe a memorable success story or customer testimonial that really reflects the impact of your product on people's lives?
Zen, there's so many. I think one that comes to mind, first of all, I have to tell you with myself, I think for anything that I am passionate about is because I have seen the results. So I've seen the results, and it has empowered me for my skin as well as in my intimate life. But I'm going to talk about someone who's become a very good friend of mine, actually who's working for us now. Rebecca, she's in LA. We're the same age when she was in her, I think she was in her 40s or late 40s when she discovered that she had breast cancer. And she was recently married and just had a baby. So you can imagine the impact that it had on her relationship, because one of the things that people don't really talk about is that once you go through chemotherapy, one of the things that radiation and chemotherapy can do is damage the vaginal tissue. So it makes it very thin. So sexual intimacy is very uncomfortable. And of course, she's just recently married, So yes, she survived breast cancer. She's feeling good. But then how do you continue to live with that quality of life that you were accustomed to? So her GYN referred her to the CO2 Lift V because it's non-hormonal and yet is going to give her the results she wanted. And because of the type of results she received, her relationship with her husband, everything just improved. She wanted to meet me, and when we met, then she ended up working with us. So we're really happy to have her on board. But we have those stories times 1,000.
That's a great success story. And it's more important to also point out, and we'll tie it up because I don't want to go too much into just this product, because I want to talk to you about your incredible career and your path. But it's important to note that CO2 Lift Pro is a medical monotherapy, and it's very effective because there's two uses here. So for me, it was great for my severely dry skin. My husband had itchy skin on the scalp of his head. It really, really sped the recovery of some of the open wounds from the eczema and the psoriasis because, again, it increased blood flow. But also great, I want to let people know, as an aesthetic monotherapy, because your fine lines, your wrinkles, your creepy skin, the dark circles, the inflamed skin, all the textural imbalances, dehydration. For me, it was enlarged pores, dull tone. It was one of the best products that I've used, and it was non-invasive. And what I like best is it's safe when applied to the upper eyelids and on mucosal membranes, which I'm very sloppy with. So big shout out to that. Now, your journey as a founder and CEO must have taught you some invaluable lessons. What leadership principles do you prioritize in your role, and how do they shape the ethos of your company's culture?
So, leading is very important, and you always have to lead by example. But one of the things that I take very seriously is, we talk about empowerment, but even empowerment as a leadership quality that we bring to the team. We want everyone who works with us, and our team is right now, we have close to 100 people on our team. We want them to feel empowered. So knowledge is very important, keeping them up to date with what's important with regarding to product, as well as even in how to sell or whatever role or position they have. Training and knowledge is very important to us, as well as personal life. I think that, we always talk about work-life balance. And as far as I see it, that's just I don't even know what that means. You need to put first things first, and everything else seems to go along with that. But with our team, it's always important to me that they're taking care of their personal life, because I feel like once that is covered, they're going to be better at what they do. So that balance, I don't even know how to necessarily describe it, but whatever that is for them, that's something that we want to take into account. So that's important to us, as well as an open door policy. I don't think that I know everything, and I've always tried to surround myself with people who know more than I do. And so I always welcome their suggestions. I'm not a negative person, and so I always tell the team that when you have something to talk about, make sure you have a solution, a suggested solution. So those are some of the things that I think has helped us to continue to grow and help us to continue to have a great synergy with all of us that work together at Lumisque.
And it's great that you point out that you are really, really aware of what goes on in your employees' lives, and you advocate for their internal and personal happiness, because that balance does translate into the workforce. And what you just described, Lana, is you're leading by example, but it's also, there's a difference between being a leader and being a boss. And you are a leader. And that's very different, because no one likes their boss, but everyone loves a leader, right? Now, what advice would you give, and this is a question I've been dying to ask you, to female entrepreneurs who aspire to make their mark in traditionally male-dominated fields like the one that you're in?
That's such an interesting question. I've never really looked at. I don't look at the negatives in any situation. So even you pointed out earlier, which those statistics are remarkable in how even in this field, the males dominate. However, I always think of just presenting yourself with the best qualities that you can, in terms of your work ethic, in terms of your word, your truthfulness, how hard you're willing to drive, your perseverance, your leadership actions, being a woman of action, not just talking about it, but being about it. I think that in any industry, and as you mentioned, so many are male dominated, even this skincare one, I think it's still about just presenting those qualities and just being your best self. And that's what I've done.
I think respect is earned. And I think in your industry, you have earned the respect from your peers, whether they are male or female, because you are so knowledgeable and so full of proper, sound business etiquette that when you make your decisions, whether it's a man or a woman listening to you, it just makes sense, right? So I think in general, when you come to the table prepared, when people know that you're on your A game, you've crossed all your T's, you've dotted all your I's, you know the science you're promoting, you know the product you're promoting, you know your double-blind studies, you work with the consumer, the customer, the provider, the doctor, you have your work cut out for you, because not everybody can balance what you do. So a big hat out, the hat comes off to you, Lana. And more importantly, we're talking about October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, this is the month where we're celebrating survival stories, previvor stories, and making sure that women have all the information that they need, because it's extremely important to spread awareness, to create enough opportunity for women out there who are suffering from breast cancer, or who have battled it or survived it or have a loved one dealing with it, that there are solutions, there are alternatives, and there are products, more importantly, that can really help change your life, just like the one that you have here at your company, CO2Lift. Now, your journey as a founder and CEO is extremely different than the average. You have had quite the interesting path. Can you share some surprising or lesser known facts about yourself that people might not be aware of?
I think one that comes readily to mind is that I was a pig farmer.
You were a pig farmer?
Yes. My father had a company that would provide milk and juices to the hotels and to the supermarkets. So when he would bring spoiled milk back, we would just throw it away. And I was thinking, what a waste. There must be something that we can do with spoiled milk. And then I talked to a couple of people and they're like, pigs love spoiled milk. So I started raising pigs. And in Jamaica, where I'm from, jerk pork is a big thing. And the farm was in Old Harbor. So I would get the spoiled milk, raise the pigs, and then we had callaloo, which is like spinach. I would give them the callaloo and I would give them the spoiled milk. It's so interesting. My father wanted to start charging me for the spoiled milk when he was throwing it away initially. But yeah, that was an interesting thing. It's funny because after that, it was very hard for me to eat to eat pork.
This explains why you are a vegan.
Yes, well, yes. Recently became a vegan, but yes, certainly pork was one of the things that when you raise them, you can understand. You'll see why. It's like getting drunk on Southern Comfort, and then you never want to see it again. Like you're like, no way. You've had way too much pig in your life. Yes, that's for sure.
Okay, if you could, we're at the end of this fantastic date. If you could give your younger self, one piece of advice, what would it be? I've asked you this before.
You have. I respond differently every time because there's so many things I would like to tell her. But I think the one thing I would tell her is, Lana, just be true to who you are. Don't try to please everyone else. Understand who you are and just follow that, because I think that when people are truthful, when you're sincere, when you're in your truth, you attract all the good and the success that you want. Just be true to who you are.
Great advice. And with that, we are out of time. Lana, thank you so much for stopping by. It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you, Zen. You're always amazing. Thank you.
That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2Lift. Definitely head to their website and check them out, CO2Lift.com. You could check them out on the gram at CO2Lift. And definitely do check out the amazing, the beautiful, the talented Lana Kerr at the Lana Kerr with 2 R's. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2Lift. CO2Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.